Hi there, my name is Aliyah Selah, and welcome to Astro Insights. So today we're going to be thanking Johnny for his birthday present. I am standing up to say thank you for giving us the gift of human and civil rights seen right before our eyes at a time when censorship that's not very logical, like blocking out doctors and stuff during a pandemic, and the media is just in a frenzy. You can't really trust a lot of what's being said on mainstream news. And this council culture that's happening, we saw it in Canada where a lot of truckers and people who just gave them $10 had their bank accounts frozen. So this is the atmosphere of a lot of unjust things that are happening to us. And it was very empowering for me personally to watch Johnny fight for his human and civil rights, to not be canceled just because someone said that when there's no evidence or proof of it. And he proved in a court of law with evidence. And mostly that evidence was the audio that Amber recorded on her own phone. So, interesting stuff, because a lot of people are going, oh, but she has a right to speak. Oh, but it's a women's issue. It's all propaganda. It's not a women's issue. It is a person issue. It is every kind of person, they, them, me, he, she, everyone can be abused and needs our support. So this is, I'm saying, a WeToo movement. So hashtag WeToo. Go ahead and leave your comments below, or go to the page and leave your comments there. It's very important that we are looking at these human and civil rights that Johnny gave us by opening up his whole life so that we could see what he had been going through. It was narcissistic abuse. And many of us have had that, and we know. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But first, let me ask you for Johnny's birthday to sing happy birthday to him. Okay, so here we go, and then we're gonna learn some astrology that empowers our freedom and civil and human rights. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Johnny. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Okay, thank you for joining with me singing happy birthday to Johnny. So we're going to be looking at his Jupiter and Saturn cycles, because those are the ones that really spoke to me. I was able to see some incredible synchronicities. Now, astrology does not tell you who you are or what will happen to you, but it does tell you the celestial timing of things so that you can understand more your lessons in your chart that you've come here to learn. And if you open up your intuition, it will help you to make the most authentic life choices for you. So that's why I study astrology and teach astrology to people who are intuitive and kind of understand a lot of this. But then when they get astrology, they just have a lot more information. Like if you're a surfer and you want to go out on the waves, maybe you'll find out what the surf report is, just to make sure that it's a really good time for you to head out there. Okay, so that's basically what astrology can offer you. So here we go. The first thing that I want to say is, as the verdict happened June 1st, 2 days later, there were 5 planets that were aligned in the sky in the dawn, 30 minutes before sunrise. Now, you can say, oh yeah, of course, it would have happened anyways. Yes, that's true. But whenever planets line up like that, it gives us the ability to have more intuition with each other and more group community thought. And since all of us were cheering, most of us, Johnny on, what happened is we did become a community, and that was just more exemplified by this lineup in the sky. So we have Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Mercury is a planet of communications and travel, and it went direct June 3rd after being in retrograde for about 3 weeks. That's what Mercury does. And then it's going to be going into Gemini June the 13th, which is the day before this wonderful super full moon that's happening. That's really about how to rekindle our love inside for ourselves and to each other and to the community. So it's in Sagittarius, which has a concept of the truth, and the truth is that we are all connected, and it is our love that connects us. So that's why I'm saying it is a love super full moon. I have a video on that if you want to check it out. So next we have Venus, which is receiving energy. It's yin energy, and Venus is conjunct, which means next to Uranus, which is sudden changes in Taurus, until Mercury is in Gemini on the 13th, as I said before, and Venus goes into Gemini on the 24th, which is the day after the solstice. So we have a lot of energy moving to communication. It's time for all of us to focus on how we communicated. And that's why I want to talk about Johnny, because how he communicated was vital to what helped him to win his case. And I'll be talking about that more, but he has a Mercury, again, the planet of communication, next to Venus in Taurus. So that means that while this court case was going on, he had his Venus and his Mercury return. And that's going to help him, because that means that the way he speaks naturally was a way that was happening with the transit planets at the same time that were going over at the time when he was having his court case. So that's very synchronistic too. Then we have Mars, which is giving energy, and we have as a yang energy. And Mars has been sitting with Chiron, which is the wounded healer. And Johnny definitely exemplifies the wounded healer. And there's reasons for that, but most of us, most of my friends are the wounded healer. It's anybody who grows through their wounds and gets to the other side, and then wants to help heal people with that, finding that they've grown through. So we have, this is in Aries now, though. That's the thing. It's been in Pisces, then it went into Aries on the May 10th. And at that point, it was an incredible surge of fire energy with the Aries innovation. So Jupiter is expanding and learning, but it can be possibly indulgences too. So that's where we saw a little bit of that happening and coming up in this trial. So then we have Saturn. Now, Saturn is a planet of responsibility and karma. It's in Aquarius, so it does have to do with community issues. And I feel that, you know, it was very interestingly, it went retrograde the day after this lineup happened on June 4th. Now, this retrograde, it's time to go back over, and with Saturn in Aquarius, it's our community ideas. What do we see as community ideas, and how this is going to be happening till like October 27th. We have some time to reevaluate how we view our community wounds and how we can heal these community wounds. And one of the community wounds was that only men hurt women. That's the whole thing. And we know they do. But many men and boys were raped in Hollywood just as much as the women. So we have to look at this as a whole thing that we want to heal. And I've often said that the sixth wave of feminism is humanism. It's time for us to not battle between the sexes and instead come together to save our planet, because that's pretty much what's happening right now. Now, getting back to Johnny, Johnny had an amazing ability to be very humble and brilliant and funny. And, you know, people loved him. He always made people feel appreciated and made sure that they were taken care of if he could help that. He'd go on the set and everybody felt like they had a warm connection with him. And that's why he could bring 30-year friends in to testify for him. He has built such a strong bond with so many people because that's who he is. That's the kind of person he is. You didn't see Amber doing that. In fact, nobody testified. None of her friends, unless they had to, because they were called by the court, none of them came forward except for her sister. So it's kind of, we're looking at this whole thing and how important it is that his Venusian uh, speak, I would say, with this Mercury and Venus and Taurus, he just is real grounded, real loving, soft spoken. And that is pretty much his personality. He was pushed by Amber to become so much more angry than he had probably been in so many years. So we have to look at the whole thing and listen to the audio. If you have any curiosity about what really happened, there are several wonderful people who've put out videos where you can listen to the audio in full, and they even sometimes put the words. One was Incredibly Average. He did a great job. The other is That Umbrella Guy. Laura B. and several other lawyers were giving all kinds of insights so that we could understand that Amber broke the law with perjury many, many times over, with falsifying evidence, with not having the evidence, and with lying on the stand. So we're going to see that it's possible there could be some court time, that she ends up in jail. It's possible. Not that I wish that for her, but it's just so important that we all see how dangerous narcissistic abuse is, because they make you think that you're the problem. That's the gaslighting. They make the person think that they are the ones who are instigating while they instigate. So it's kind of a slippery slope, and we see a lot of that happening around the world right now in a lot of the different things that we've been looking at. So I am doing a quicker video than the other one that I did before. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be just touching on his Saturn return and his Jupiter returns and Pluto on his moon. Those are the three things I'm going to be focused on. So first of all, he had his second Saturn return. Your first Saturn return is about you taking responsibility for yourself. And on the Fool's Journey in Tarot, it's the first time around owning up to who you are, taking responsibility, and developing your best self. So that's what the first Saturn return is really about. 28, 29, 30, you're going to feel, wow, I'm an adult now. I can't keep blaming my parents or what happened to me or whatever. It's kind of an owning up thing that happens at the first Saturn return. Whereas the second Saturn return is when we want to give back. So was what Johnny did. He gave us so much by allowing us into his very private life to see how the court system works and how the council culture has just been causing so many people to be censored, to have their bank accounts frozen. We really needed to see that we need human rights and civil rights that protect people from this kind of behavior. So we have also here his Uranus opposite his Neptune, and that is what was happening. Right here is the, this is Neptune, and Uranus is opposite it here. So it was kind of a coming to terms with Uranus's sudden changes, and Neptune are your visions, and it can be delusions, but it was really opposing it because it's time now for this to be looked at. He waited 6 years to speak up, and did a brilliant job of it. So what he had now, it's hard to understand, like, why would he have married Amber? They were already having problems. Why? Well, the reason why is because what was going on in his chart. He had Pluto on his moon. Now, Pluto here, this is at this point by the trial, it passed on. But in 2015, it happened on the 19th, 20th of January 2015 is when he had Pluto on his moon. And that's emotions, and Pluto is deep-seated stuff. So this was his mother issue. Definitely his mother issue with Plutonian mom. And here he is having this Pluto now on his moon. And 2 weeks later, he marries Amber. And we're now finding out that she kind of threatened him. She said that she would be suicidal, and then if that didn't work, she would tell him and threaten him that she was going to go out and say that the altercations were all his fault. So he kind of felt he had to marry her, thinking maybe he loved her enough it would calm her down once they were married. Well, then it went retrograde in July 25th. It happened again where Pluto was on his moon. And I don't know exactly what was happening, but we'll probably see that there was something that was happening. I'm going to try to find out more. But then we heard about Thanksgiving. Well, November 23rd, it happened for the third time. So that is a lot of focus on this Plutonian mother issue as she became, as he said, she became his mother. And in that type of a way. So the fact that the Saturn return happened the day before the trial is amazing. And Saturn's about karma. It's about responsibility. It's about honor and integrity. And we saw it played out in this court case. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what happened is that so amazing, 6 years to the day during the closing arguments, May 27th. That was the anniversary when Amber did the TRO against Johnny. It was on May 27th, 2016. Interestingly enough, it's Lily Rose's birthday, so she did the TRO on his daughter's birthday. I mean, I don't know if you kind of think that's weird, but I really did think that stood out. And also, she filed the divorce like on the 23rd, days after his mom died on the 20th. I mean, who does that? Your loved one has just lost his mother, and you're like saying you're going to beat him to the divorce because he had already said he wanted one. So she hurried up and did it, and then hurry up and did the TRO because her lawyers said that she would lose her place to live if she didn't. So all this stuff is coming out. This is not about women's issues, and it's not about even abuse. It's about Amber lying under oath, making evidence that's faked. The police came to look at her place, and there was nothing on her or in the place that showed any kind of, abuse had happened. And yet she did that because her lawyers said, you have to get a TRO, you have to, do the divorce with the mark on your face. She called the paparazzi to come. And at first she denied it, and then she was caught in the lie because they actually came on the trial and said, oh yeah, we can't put it up unless the person who taped it gives us permission to. So it had to be her. It had to be her. And now we're looking at all this extortion divorce. She wanted 3 penthouses. She wanted the SUV. She took his dog. I mean, like, what is up with that? She wanted $50,000 a month and for him to cover all the, PG&E and all the expenses of the penthouses as well. And she said, if you do all of that, I won't go after you with this abuse accusation, which is ironic because she was the one doing the abuse. But then, of course, he gives her everything she wants. He just wants out of it. And then what happens? She does the TRO. She does the divorce thing publicly with the mark on her face. So she lied to him after he gave her everything she wanted. She also said she was going to give it all to charity. And oops, she didn't do that either. So now the fact that she promised it to charity and publicly said she was giving it all to charity and she didn't give it to charity, that is perjury. So there's a lot of things that could be perjury for her, but basically we're looking at a lot of things happening in his chart. The closing arguments are right there, while he has a lot of astrological things that are pointing to the way he communicates. That was what saved him, because it showed who he is. And the jury, they got it. They heard Amber lie, get caught in lies, deny her getting caught in lies while she's caught in a lie. They saw it. And then they heard her own voice admitting that she hits him. Admitting. They're not going to believe you that you're the victim. So if you're interested in this case, please listen to the facts and find out more here. Because what we have is he has one fire sign. That is Jupiter in Aries. And Amber has a bit more, but she has Mercury in Aries. And that is her communication style. And you hear it. It's also opposite her sun in Taurus, opposite Pluto. So she's got this escalating Plutonian rage that happens. And you hear it on the tape. I would never accuse her of anything. I'm telling you because it came out of her own mouth. When somebody tells you something, you gotta believe them, if that's what they're saying. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. It's just a recap, a thank you for Johnny giving us more insights to our human rights, our civil rights, right now while they're being threatened in the cancel culture, and also censorship and freezing people's accounts. Things like this are happening, and we need to stand up. And Johnny showed us that we need to stand up because he did. And he won. So thank you very much for watching. If you're interested, I did the new moon and the Sagittarius full moon that's coming up. A lot of people really like that. I'm going to talk more about relationships and how we can all get along. That's going to be the theme for the whole summer. I'm going to be doing it with couples, with kids, and just community understandings. And I'm going to be focusing on the summer solstice next. And I also have this wonderful one that I'm going to be sharing with you here, Returning to an Old Flame. I did a composite of both Johnny Depp and Kate Moss, and their charts are amazingly compatible. And I'm going to tell you more about that. Thank you so much, and I enjoyed this. I hope you did too, and I'll be giving you some more Astro Insights. Take care. Peace.